Good evening, everyone. We're about to start this special called meeting for October the 30th, 2018 of the Sumner County Board of Education. Before we do, I'm going to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to our country's flag. And if you would like to do so, please feel free to do so. I'll get it out in a minute.
You did right. You did right.
Do the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I know, trying to get late. Well, I want to say good evening to everybody here tonight. We're glad that you're here. You're always welcome to come to one of our meetings. I know that maybe some have come wanting to do public comments. Unfortunately, this is a special called meeting, and it does not allow for public comments on this particular meeting. That being said, you can still contact us, or we'll probably stand around here afterwards, and you'll be happy to hear from you that way. Or you can contact your board members by email or phone. We'd be glad to hear from you that way. And the next stated meeting was scheduled for November 20th, but we kind of thought that was so close to Thanksgiving. Some of you may be traveling or whatever. So we've actually moved that to November the 27th. And that is a meeting that is regularly called, and you can come and speak. You can come and speak as an HOA, as a group, or individually. Just come in and sign up. And the way that works is you get 5 minutes to speak on an agenda item. But what's going to happen here tonight is we're just going to go over the what's on the agenda. Policy doesn't allow us to vote on anything other than what's on the agenda. And we're just going to find out if we're going to build a new school, and if we are, if we're going to hire the architects. And then we've got some books that we're going to talk about buying. And so none of the rezoning will actually be on here tonight anyway. But we do appreciate you being here, and you're welcome anytime. And you can contact, we'll stay around if anybody wants to talk with us, and you can contact us by email or phone, or we'll see you on the 27th. That being said, the first item on the agenda is discussion and or action regarding new school campus building plan. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Mr. Daniels. Second all over the place. I've got Ms. Bachman, I think. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is discussion and or action regarding architectural contract for the elementary school. Do I have a motion?
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Mr. Gregory, second by Ms. Brown. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Item number 3, discussion and action regarding the architectural contract for the new middle/high school. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Mr. Daniels.
Second.
Second by Ms. Brown. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Item number 4, discussion and action regarding 3rd grade ELA curriculum resource. Do I have a motion? Motion approved by Ms. Bachman. Second by Ms. Hayes. Any discussion? Mr. Phillips.
Yep. This, we've been working for quite some time, Scott and his team in instruction, and actually prior to Scott getting on board here at the central office. And we've continually heard, especially from our 3-5 ELA teachers, where they're spending a lot of time trying to find resources, especially text to use. And so we've done a lot of research, Scott's team, and we settled that probably the best one out there for us would be a product called Wit and Wisdom. So what we're trying to do is go ahead and order 3rd grade resources to deploy in 3rd grade, and then at the end of the year get feedback from 3rd grade teachers to see if that's the way to go or not before we buy 4th and 5th grade in subsequent years. So that's really what we're trying to do. We want to get this approved instead of waiting until next year. We want to go ahead and get it approved. The funds, we have the funds in the budget to do this. Roll out the resource for teachers to have some training, and then have this resource in their hands by Christmas or when we return from Christmas break, okay? So that's why we put it on the agenda. It just saves us 3 weeks before we meet again on 27th, however long that is. Just saves us a little bit of time. We can go in and get them ordered and get them in the hands of teachers just as fast as we can.
Thank you, Dr. Phillips. Any other discussion? Mr. Andrews, I'm sorry, Mr. Daniels. I saw first.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you were talking? Okay, then Mr. Hawkins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I actually wanted to follow up with 2 questions on the earlier items, if I may. I realize it's out of order since we talked about ELA, but first, with regard to the plans that were approved tonight for the elementary school and for the middle/high school, this maybe is a question for Mr. Johnson as well as Dr. Phillips. Can we get those posted and up on the sumnerschools.org website so that the community can see the information about what
Should already be up to.
the plans?
Architect contracts are in board docs, so the plans, the maps, what we've got so far as yeah, my mic's not working. What we've got as plans so far are just the zoning change plans and the presentation that was made at the board retreat.
Okay, so we don't have drawings per se. That's what the architects will be doing.
Architects
Right.
generally won't pay before they do that.
Right, so you're approving the contract for the architects to make those drawings tonight, and those contracts are in our board doc site with our board agenda, so those documents are up, but you won't have plans until.
We haven't given them any.
We won't have renderings until maybe of the new schools until maybe, I'm gonna guess, May. If we go to the street in June with the spec book to bid the jobs, obviously we'll have it done by then, but it's still way, way, way too early for that.
Okay.
I don't even know yet what it's gonna look like. We gotta
Thank you.
decide all that.
Okay. Second question, Mr. Chairman, is in connection with next steps, having had the special called meeting tonight, having taken the unanimous actions tonight to approve going forward with the creation of the plans and the hiring of the architects, would you mind calling upon Dr. Phillips to ask for him to give us I've got a lot of parents here from my district here, and I want to recognize and thank that we have 2 of our county commissioners here tonight. Thank you very much for reaching out and being here when you didn't have to be. Thank you. Could you talk about next steps in terms of contacting the County Commission Education Committee and where we go from there?
Yeah, I think the county will, if they haven't already, I think they'll notice a combined meeting maybe of financial management, education, and budget. And I think that will be for November 5th. Those meeting schedules, because November has Election Day and Veterans Day this year, it's kind of like our meeting schedule's a little bit off. Their meeting schedule is a little different than what we typically run every month. But I think they're going to do that notice. They will all have a combined meeting, and that's a little bit more the county being very courteous to allow me to just do the presentation one time versus 3 separate times. So I appreciate them being able to do that. In the past, we've done the 2014 presentation, building program presentation that way, and every year probably since 14, we've done the budget that way. We combine the meetings in June, and I go over and present to both committees at one time, and then they vote separately, but it's just the way that you notice the meeting. So we're gonna do that on the 5th, and if it passes all of those committees, then it would go to the floor, commission floor on the 19th. And I guess there's probably a little separation to understand the building. What we're asking the county to do is to fund the new building program. It has nothing to do with zoning. Zoning is statutorily the board's authority and responsibility, but in that same train of thought, the funding of the new campus falls under the authority of the county commission. So that's why we kind of have to keep those 2 things separate. There, I'm going to predominantly talk about why we need the school campus developed, and then cost estimates, and then timelines.
Thank you, Dr. Phillips, and Mr. Hawkins. We have a motion and a second on the floor.
Thank you.
And we need to get back to the discussion of that.
I just want to make sure that we get the dates and places for those times of meetings so we can attend.
Understood. We have a motion and a second on the floor that has to be taken care of, please. Is there any other discussion on item number 4? Mr. Berger, you have your light on.
I just wanted to mention to Dr. Phillips and to Scott, excuse me, Mr. Langford, that I thought, as well as I haven't heard anybody else say differently either, that both of you, and I've told you individually, but it needs to be said publicly, that both of you gentlemen did an A-plus job last Tuesday night. It's very good on the rezoning, the buildings situation, and of course yours on instruction. Very good.
Thank you, Mr. Gregory. Is there any discussion on item 4? Discussion and/or action regarding third grade ELA curriculum resource? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Seeing none, motion carries. That concludes the items on the agenda, and we are adjourned.
I apologize.
Thank you for the comment. Appreciate it.